Okay, wrestling fans, pro wrestling fans, I just have a little theory for you. This theory is not officially endorsed by Vince Russo or by anybody. It's just my theory. Why does the wrestling community hate Vince Russo? Now, obviously, not everybody hates him. Steve Austin's spoken with Vince many times. Conrad Thompson always tries to defend Vince Russo against people like Eric Bischoff and at times Bruce Pritchard. But why do so many wrestling inside people and even the fans seem to think they hate Vince Russo? They've never met the guy, they've never spoken to the guy. My theory is this. It goes down to quite a few things, but creation, authorship of creation. Now, Vince Russo is one of the few wrestling writers, one of the first and one of the few to really ask for and even demand credit for his creative contributions to the WWE or WWF at the time. And I think that because you had someone, namely Vince Russo, demanding that he and Ed Ferrara get their due credit for some of the ideas they helped with or developed, that threatens a lot of people in the wrestling business. Because as I've stated in previous videos, a lot of these people in the wrestling industry and even the fans have a daddy complex, a father figure complex. They all look to Vince McMahon as a father figure because they probably didn't have a good relationship with their real father, or they're looking for a secondary father figure in the wrestling world. So when that power or authority of Vince McMahon is challenged a bit or shaken or questioned, these wrestling supposed insiders and idiot fans feel threatened. They feel that their little world is shaken a bit. So there's that part of it. Now, the other thing is this. A lot of people out there have never written anything creative. They've, unless it was in a school assignment when they're in third grade, what I did for school vacation, they never wrote a movie script like I have, released by Lionsgate. They've never worked on films, they've never directed films, stage plays, poetry. They've never done any of that. So a lot of these people that criticize Vince Russo, simply put, do not know what it's like to be a writer. And being a writer is very tough. It's not tough to write per se, it's tough to make a living and get paid to write. It's tough to not have people bastardize your work and fuck it up when other people produce what you write. So, hence, therefore, a lot of people, they don't understand pride of authorship. They don't understand when you put your soul, your intelligence, your spirit into writing, what it's like to see that either done well, properly, to execution, if either you're the director, someone else is the director, or the producer and the producer, whatever, or see someone else fuck it up. And in my life, my writing career, I've seen both. I've directed things, produced things that I wrote that I was very happy with, and sometimes when other people, produce and or direct, sometimes that's great, and sometimes it's not. So, pride of authorship is something that many wrestling fans, because they're used to just playing with action figures and wearing Brock Lesnar Suplex City t-shirts, they have no comprehension or appreciation of. So it's not that you're, bad people or malignant people. It's just that you're not particularly creative people. You're used to just watching other people do things, living vicariously through other people's creativity. It's no judgment, I'm just saying. You listen to these Bruce Pritchard podcasts with Conrad Thompson, and a lot of times Conrad will say, well, hey, that was a great idea, from the Attitude Era, or, who came up with that idea? And a lot of times Bruce's pat answer is, well, I don't, something to the effect of, I'm not quoting, but something to the effect of, I don't know who came up with the idea, but Vince McMahon took the credit, which typically is the case these days. Pritchard doesn't seem to remember a lot about the credit of who actually did something, but it's usually Vince McMahon, not Russo, who took the credit for most of these ideas. And hey, power to him. But that's what you have when you have a family, and nobody out here is claiming that Shane McMahon or Stephanie McMahon are these wonderful creative people. If anyone's giving credit, it's to Triple H and NXT. But no one's singing a song about how creative Stephanie is, or shucking Shane McMahon or Linda McMahon. So that's the story, folks. It really comes down to this. Vince Russo, like myself, demands that his creativity, his creative contributions are respected and appreciated with his name on it, and Ed Ferrara to a lesser extent. But that threatens most wrestling fans and people inside the wrestling industry, because they all have a daddy complex towards Vince McMahon. And so when someone else speaks up and doesn't fall into that adherence, then they feel threatened, because that makes them challenge, why do they have their fucking daddy complex? Why do they want to polish Vince's shoes all the time? So there you have it, fans. A little theory. You're welcome to comment. You're welcome to disagree. But always remember, this was my goddamn theory, and don't take credit for it. MikeMessier.com.